Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode.
Hi, everyone.
Well, last time we were here, Amanda was mulling over whether to continue with Optune or not to continue with Optune. So, Amanda, you want to give us an update on that?
Yes, so I did honor my word to myself, even though I was pretty much convinced I wasn't going to do it. I tried it for 10 days, and I'm very lucky and blessed to have the choice to do Optune or not, and my decision as of today is no. That's not a forever, that is a not right now. I feel my quality of life kind of took a turn in the sense of I just felt like I felt sick. I felt like I looked in the mirror and I didn't really understand the image kind of coming back. I could see people using this device and feeling so happy and like gratitude for it and like a lot of thankfulness for it. That wasn't my experience. I tried to be very open-minded about it. I really did, and at the end of the day, with my decision, it came down to quality life, and that was the number one determining factor on why I chose to discontinue it.
So, it's not forever, just not right now. Are you looking forward to putting it on in the future? Is that what you're saying?
I'm like hopeful. Every birthday I would like to just put it on for fun. No, I think that, this is a really potentially fast moving disease. And I think if some study came along and was like, oh, actually our stats were totally off and this thing is going to extend your life for 20 years, I'd be like, damn it. But I'd still probably do it. And the stats that I'm talking about specifically is Optune's own statistics. If I'm being honest, I didn't really understand the math of the trial. Essentially, if you wear this device for only 6 months, the first 6 months of treatment, your rate, or essentially you can potentially live up to 4 months longer, which seems like a really long time.
That wasn't even for 6 months.
Huh?
That wasn't for 6 months.
What do you mean?
So typically with GBM, the Google statistics are the average person gets 16 months from diagnosis. Optune statistics say, and what Amanda's talking about, and one of the challenges with Optune has been is just Amanda's a math major, and so she's super science heavy, right? Super science heavy.
Used to be.
But her cognitive ability on, especially around numerical things, on mathematics, is understanding percentages and conversions has been challenging. And one of the things I think that got her into this was how she looked at data, but then also how there's almost a rush for her to generalize it. So she'd hear one or two stories, she'd say everybody's doing this and they're doing so well and they're going to live 15 more years. That's an exaggeration. So Optune's study said the average person goes from 16 months to 4.9 months when they do wear Optune for 75% of the time in conjunction with standard of care, which is radiation and chemotherapy, and the ongoing chemotherapy, the 6 months of maintenance chemo, which Amanda's on right now. The people who achieved those extra 4.9 months were wearing Optune for 9 to 12 months. So it's not a 6 months and then it's done. The average person wore it for 9 to 12 months to get the extra 4.9 months.
And I understand this a lot more now. The thing is I'm not the only one that was told, and on Optune's website, it did talk about standard of care and the chemotherapy in conjunction of, that's where the 6 months was coming into play.
It talks about that because that is a 6 month maintenance program. So you were on a 6 month chemo maintenance program where you were doing chemotherapy every month for 6 months.
Yeah.
they were saying that the studies are applying to people in this specific study started doing Optune in conjunction with that 6-month chemotherapy.
Yeah.
But to achieve that, then they had also wore it ongoing afterwards to achieve that.
Mm-hmm. And that was the thing too for me with Optune was, you know, on Optune's own admission, if you have, so Optune is saying that potentially you can extend your 5-year survivorship by 7%. And I know that sounds like a lot, especially with something that's aggressive, that's a really fast cancer, but I'm not guaranteed that quote unquote extra time. And so for me, I want to feel and do things that just feel natural and aligned with myself. And that device wasn't it.
It definitely wasn't. The past week wearing Optune was arguably the hardest week we've had since diagnosis. I mean, more crying, more stress than there's been this entire time. It was watching Amanda just kind of wither away underneath it. It was heartbreaking. And then it brought up lots of conversations, quality of life. We had several times where Amanda's in tears, I don't want to die. And she's wrestling with the idea of keeping this thing on that is literally, she feels like she's imprisoned with it because she's not leaving the house. She just feels, and it's not a vanity thing. We were joking about a few of her friends were just adamant about getting her wigs because they thought as soon as she shaved her head, she's going to want to wear wigs. And we were joking about it yesterday that I bet she ends up being the person who just goes wigless most of the time.
And here we are. And I'm totally fine with being bald. It is amazing.
I think she's going to really embrace and own it. So it wasn't a vanity
incredible
thing. It's literally her taking on this identity of looking like, gosh, this isn't me. And then having basic things be a hindrance. And yes, she could have adapted to it. Yes, but did she want to? And it was evident for her that she didn't.
And I mean, as of not now. And I'm not.
It doesn't even need to be a not now. It just needs to be a, that's it. It isn't like that qualifier.
No, it's not
Why?
even a qualifier. I'm just saying, like, my mind could change.
No, doctors, I don't have any symptoms yet, but if I do, don't worry. We just hang on. I'll get back here with you with some symptoms for you.
I'm just saying, it's not 100% off the table maybe down the road.
And I'm just saying, allow yourself the gift of just having a firm decision of no. I hear what you're saying, and I've watched you historically have like a congruency moment for yourself, and then you take away some of that congruency to try to accommodate what you think expectations are of other people.
Okay, but I'm just saying it's not 100% off the table.
Of course not, man. Another thing's 100% off the table, but right now it's a 100% decision you've made.
Yes.
I think that you want to make this. You really are wanting to be considerate of other people and their position in life and what they're going through, and I think that's incredible about you. And that you are so considerate, you're so thoughtful of others and who might not feel they have the same choice as you. And you made a choice for yourself. And as someone who watches you every day struggle with choices, I just encourage you to really just own that choice and allow yes, no to be enough and not have to have it be explained beyond that.
Okay.
Don't want to go any more into that, do you?
No.
You know, one thing too that we might just mention is a success strategy for all of you that this really brought to light the need for us, and I'm hopeful, hint hint, that it will be implemented down the road. But if you find yourself in a similar position, exploring additional treatment modalities or just anything in life where you're really mulling over a big decision, consider enlisting a inner counsel for yourself. And this is going to be a group of, it could be, I would say 4 to 7 people who you love, people who you trust, people who you know will have your best interests at heart. And it doesn't necessarily need to be your best friends or your partners, but people who are going to be able to listen to you and give you objective feedback. Because what would have happened, I think, if we would have had that and we would have had it in our flow for discussion, then we would have had this opportunity to hear the data that Amanda's making decisions off of, we could have talked about it, we could have researched it, and then we could have been able to come back to her and say, well, that's not really what the data is saying. This is what it's actually saying. And oftentimes, at least what I found during this, is you want to empower the person whose life it is to make the decisions. Sometimes how the decision-making process goes might be such a rush to try to latch on to the hope or the promise of something that we say yes before we really know what we're saying yes to. So just think about that down the road, as it might be something to think about who would be on your inner council and what could you bring to them. It doesn't even have to be something similar to what we're going through. It could just be anything that you're mulling over in life.
I also think too, because we talked about this inner council work, and I reached out to one of my best friends who's a therapist, and she gave me I think great recommendations and great things to mull over. And that was, days before I decided yes or no. And so I think that really worked in my favor. Of she was not going to tell me what to do. She was just telling me, she just was a listening ear, but this is her career too.
Absolutely. And she's an incredible resource. And what I'm saying is, having her and everybody else have that conversation beforehand.
Yeah. Because
one of the things that you and I had talked about was, I'd ask you the question, if you knew everything and understood it the way you understand it now, would you have done this?
No.
Yeah. And so I'm just saying, we could have
not even close.
we could have saved the pain of the last week to 10 days if we would have gone about it a little bit more thoughtfully and put some real conversation around it rather than rush to deciding.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
Okay, anything else you want to add to this one?
And thank you for listening, and over the past few months, and being invested in this ongoing journey, because reading your guys' comments and questions and stuff that really did factor into kind of my decision. And so I'm really, really thankful that you guys are invested in this, and thankful that we can also share anything also to people who are going through glioblastoma that might be up against this decision too. And this was my choice. This is probably not everyone's choice, but very thankful that I had the choice.
Perfect. Great way to close it out.
Thank you.
All right, everybody. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.